Hi there, this is Satsang from Satsang Solutions, and we are here for more on human design. This time today we're talking about making decisions, and making decisions specifically for generators, both generators with Sacral Authority and also generators with emotional or solar plexus authority. And we're talking about this today because, in my opinion, decision making is one of the most important things there is. It's what I always teach in human design coaching sessions, no matter how much longer we go on, because everything we do in life is a decision. We're deciding to do something, we're deciding not to do something. When we're procrastinating, we are not making a decision. We're deciding not to make a decision. So we're looking today about two different people. It's actual charts of real people. I've changed their name and I've clouded their details so they remain anonymous. And a few words, first of all, about human design. Human design is this amazing modality. It's combined of several different modalities, including the chakra system, the I Ching, the astrology. And I love it because it gives real concrete tips on how to live your life more effectively so you have more satisfaction, more success, more sparkle in your life. And I also love it because although it is very detailed and very nuanced, if you learn only one or two tips, you can dramatically improve your life. And so there's no need to understand all the nuances. And what I would say, if you learn only one thing in human design, is what we're talking about today, which is decision making. So today is a little bit of a snapshot. In human design, there are 5 what are called types, 4 or 5 depending how you count it. And we're talking about one of them today, which is generators. And depending how you count the number of types, they cover 1 or 2 of the different types. Hold on, I have a little thing to do once in a while here. And so generators are most of the population, generators and manifesting generators. And so what we're talking about today covers most people, not everybody. So we're talking about 2 people. We're calling them Aviva and Sonia today. And we're going to talk about, first of all, about Aviva. She is a human resources manager and she is very good at her job, but she's not very satisfied. She either wants to find a job elsewhere or she wants to expand her current position. And her place of work is very supportive of that, of her expanding what she does to include other tasks. But it's a big decision for her because her career is extremely important to her. And so we're going to talk about how she's going to make that decision. So this is her chart. This is Aviva's chart. It's human design chart's like a little odd, but they contain tons of information. And she is what's called a generator with sacral authority. So the basic way a generator with sacral authority makes decisions is to notice what's around them, to respond to what's around them, and then make a decision based on their gut or their belly or their sacral. That's why it's called sacral authority. You can see the sacral in human design is that red square, and it roughly correlates to the chakra system as well. And so a few things what I'm saying here are important. The first of all is responding. Generators are not meant to make things up in their heads, but to respond around. What does that mean? You know, it means that, say she's at work, she's checking out LinkedIn, and she might see an article about human resources and talking about something new that she's not yet doing, and she might think, wow, that's really cool. Like, yes. This is like a sacral response. Yes, no, expanding, contracting, warm, cold. Everybody's different. I really encourage you to think about what is right for you. If you're a generator, you can write below in the comments. I'd love to hear. If you're not sure, you can write that as well. And so she can be on LinkedIn. Perhaps she's having a chat with her boss and she thinks, no, I don't want to be here. Again, that's a yes, no response from her sacral, from her gut, a gut feeling that's not right for her. Or maybe she's talking with a friend of hers who's talking about a job opportunity elsewhere and she feels either a positive or a negative towards that. Or she's around the other employees that she works with and she feels a yes or a no or a pulling or a pushing. This is her sacral response going, and she is responding to what is happening around her. So that is like the basic generator sacral response technique. Now, like everything in life, things are nuanced. It's not just that. So let's look at a few other details of her chart so you can see how human design gives it a fuller picture than something very simplistic, as in just responding and yes, no. I mean, again, if you go only with that, that's fine. It will lead you to the right path. Absolutely. So you don't have to go into the nuances, but they're nice if you feel like it, if you feel called to human design. So another aspect of human design, another layer, we're talking about the type, the generator type, and we talked about, we didn't mention the word, but we'll say it now, authority, which is sacral authority or emotional or solar plexus authority, which is how you make decisions. There's something called profile, and everybody has their own profile. And one aspect of Aviva's profile, not the entire profile, but one aspect of her profile has to do with her connections being important to her and network being important to her. Your profile has to do with how you can lean into opportunities, your strengths around opportunities. And so for her, having this profile means that when she's making her decision, it would be really useful for her to lean into her network, into her connection to the people she knows. Maybe go to drinks or go to coffee with someone and chat with them and find out what they think or if they know of any opportunities. Maybe going to groups, like hanging out with people, the people that she knows, not cold calls, not people she doesn't know, but people that she already knows and feels a connection with. That will help her make the decision as well. Now, another aspect, this is quite a nuanced aspect of Aviva's chart, but I want to just bring this up so you can see how human design is so intricate and amazing in every way. So if you see Aviva's chart, you can see that there's shapes, which are called centers, and on the shapes there are different numbers. Those are called gates in human design, and some are highlighted and some are not highlighted. And the difference between highlighted and not highlighted, when they're highlighted, they're called active. And when they're not highlighted, they're called inactive. And both are good, not one is better than the other. The difference is when a gate is active, you get the energy of that gate from within yourself, and you always have access to that energy. When it's inactive, it means that energy comes from outside of you. So it's not dependable to have it all the time, but it's flexible and nuanced, and it has many, many different flavors to it. So one of Aviva's active gates is gate 32. Where you see that brown triangle on her chart on the left-hand side? There are 4 highlighted numbers, and the one at the bottom is 32. And gate 32 has to do with understanding the long-term value and potential of things. And so because it's highlighted, it means it's active, which means that energy comes from within Aviva, and she always has access to that energy. And so she's able to gauge in sort of a nuanced, detailed way the long-term potential of either changing jobs or expanding her current job. So that will also probably in a sort of subconscious way affect her decision making, and she can also tell herself, I have this, and sort of lean into it and see if she feels a sensation around it or feeling about where would the longer term potential be. Again, taking very close note that's not coming from our head. For decisions in human design, we don't do pros, cons, logic, heads, not at all. We listen to our bodies. In a generator's case, in a manifesting generator's case, the sacral, the gut response. Sometimes it can be a little bit wider in the body, but the gut response. And following what is around them, responding. So those are a few things for Aviva that she can lean into. First of all, it's very important that always she responds. That's number 1. Gut response, yes, no, contraction, expansion, whatever her yes, no response is. And then there are nuances beyond that, which she is invited to, but doesn't have to take advantage of. For her specifically, with her specific chart, leaning into her networks, and also being aware that she has a good internal sense of where the long-term value of things are. So that's Aviva with decision making. Again, it is a generator with sacral authority. And now we're going on to number 2. And she is Sonia. Her name is Sonia. She's a lawyer. And she's also a generator. She has, though, in contrast to Aviva, she has what's called emotional authority or solar plexus authority. It's the same thing, just different names for it. And so what it means is she has an additional nuance or step or stage to her decision making. Again, because she is a generator, she responds to what's around her, and she will ultimately make a decision from her gut or her sacral. Yes, no, again, depending who you are, what your body is, what your makeup is, depends exactly what the response is. However, as she is solar plexus or emotional authority, there's an additional step, which is between the response and the making the decision, is to let her emotions settle. Because someone with emotional authority has continuous waves of emotions, up and down and up and down. It's about half of us. I'm also like that. And even without knowing your human design chart, if you are emotional authority, you will know you are emotional authority, because you will know that you always are feeling emotions. And so the thing about it, decisions are best made when our emotions are stable. So we've experienced the ups and we've experienced the downs, and then we're in a stable place. I mean, we often know that we're often told not to do things when we're angry. In human design, it also includes the other side when we're ecstatic, or, very, very excited. And I know that we live in a high-paced society and we're supposed to do things right away and not wait. As someone with emotional authority, I just want to say that oftentimes we can wait longer than we're told we can wait, or we've been used to waiting. Sometimes we can't wait the full time. We live in an imperfect world and we do the best we can. What I do encourage you with all my heart is that if you have emotional authority, whether you're a generator or another type, I'm not a generator myself, is to, if you're making a medium-sized to large decision, to wait to the extent you can to have your emotions settle. Because what happens with human design, you don't have to do things according to human design, but it's a way of making the consistently best decisions for you using the best amount of energy. And so why not do that if you can? So let's go back to Sonia. What it is when she's making decisions, what she does is she waits to see what's around her, lets her emotions settle, and then listens to yes, no decision. Now, why am I bringing up decision making for Sonia? Because she didn't come to me specifically with decisions she wanted to make. Rather, she came saying, I'm just reading right now, things that she said that were bothering her in her life. She said she's feeling mood swings, depression, she's feeling shut down, no energy to do anything, and wanting to escape her own mind and her emotions. Now, when I read things like shut down, depression, no energy to do anything, what I immediately think of as a human design coach is decision making. Because in my opinion, if we were doing the things that are consistently good for us, we're not going to feel it. Sometimes we are. Life happens. Sometimes there's situations which are difficult in life and we're going to feel down and depressed and shut down. But we're not going to have this as an ongoing thing. And where do we get to do the things that are right for us? Making decisions, making the right decisions. And especially what was a red flag for me is when she said she had no energy to do anything. Because generators, and also manifesting generators as part of a generator, they have a lot of energy, huge amounts of energy, more than anyone else when they are doing the right thing. So she has no energy and is shut down. There's something going on with the things she's doing in her decision-making process. So obviously, I would suggest things beyond just decision-making, but for the sake of this video, we are talking only about the decision-making. And so I would say to Sonia, pay really close attention to your decision-making, hone on your decision-making. You don't even have to follow your decisions at the beginning. This is what I say to everybody, just pay attention. Pay attention to what you're responding to what your gut response is, to what you do, and then what the result is. And the more that you see there's a positive correlation between making a decision based on your gut response and good things happening in your life, the easier it is to make decisions. So I would encourage Sonia with all my heart just to focus on making decisions. Focus on making decisions. And a few other things that she mentioned in her notes here. She said she wants to escape her own mind and her emotions. So I just want to address that as well. With her emotions, we've already said she's emotional authority, so she feels a lot of emotions all the time, ups and downs. It is part of her. So what I would suggest is, to the extent possible, just to understand that's who she is. She has a lot of emotions, to accept them. And also, in my opinion, the more she starts making decisions that are good for her, emotions will start to go up. She'll start feeling better, and so it won't be such an issue. When she's feeling shut down and depressed, of course, feeling the emotions is more of a challenge. The second is wanting to escape her own mind. Now with Aviva, we discussed her active and inactive gates. We were saying how an active gate gets energy from within and an inactive gate gets the energy from outside. So we're going to talk about something similar now with Sonia. Do you see the shapes in her chart? We mentioned them briefly before. What they are they're called centers in human design, and they roughly relate to the chakras. A bit different, but the same. Some correlation. And rather than being active or inactive like a gate, a center is defined if it takes the energy from within and is consistent energy, or undefined or open, which means the energy comes from outside. And the way you can tell that on a person's chart is whether the center is colored in, whether the shapes are colored in or not. When they're colored in, regardless of the color, just a formality, doesn't have any meaning, the different colors, it means they're defined. It means that you can always depend on having that type of energy. It comes from within, it's more stable and consistent. And if it's not colored in, it means it comes from outside. You have a lot of variety. There's a lot of flexibility. So neither is intrinsically good or bad. It's just how, in human design, say you are designed and how you are. And the more you understand how you are, the more you can lean into your strengths and take care of yourself in those areas that you need extra taken care of. So for Sonia, let's look at her head. The head is where her thoughts come, our logic is. There's two shapes up there. Neither of them are colored in. One's her head center, one's Ajna, if you want to be technical about it. And so what that means is that energy comes from without. She's getting a lot of thoughts and ideas from outside of herself. And so if she's wanting to calm the thoughts, one thing I would suggest is be aware, first of all, that she's having a lot of thoughts that aren't hers. And then she can ask herself, are these good for me? Not good for me. Do I want them? Not want? Because sometimes a thought is a great idea, amazing. So let's hold on to it, But if it's something that's not good, like someone's negativity or something that just doesn't jive with you, let it go. You don't need it. And so doing that will also help her calm and not feel so overwhelmed by all these thoughts. Just realizing she doesn't have to stick with them. Her normal state is a calm mind. And so she can just let things go she doesn't want. And then with her emotions, realizing that she's the opposite. She'll always have emotions. But the more she makes decisions that are good for her, the better her emotions will feel. So that's a bit about how they're interrelated. I just want to mention one other thing about Sonia. I mentioned she's a lawyer. And she made an off comment to me that although she's a lawyer, she has often felt she should have just been a healer instead. And I can see that. And actually, by the way, I myself was a lawyer for many years and I became a healer as well. So I can relate to that very much so. And so if we look back at her centers, we're talking about centers. They're the shapes. If you can see on Sonia's chart, on the left-hand side, there is a triangle colored in brown. And it has 5 highlighted numbers, a lot of lines coming out of it. That in human design is her spleen center. And that is the seat of intuition, of instincts, of also of fears and anxieties, because those have to do with survival, like instincts. But it's a lot to do with intuition, and there's a lot of activity there. Without knowing the details, you can see there's a lot going on there. And so her instincts are very, very accurate, that she definitely has the potential of being an incredible healer, no matter what she does, also as a lawyer, by the way. And so that's a bit about Sonia. So that's a bit about both Aviva and Sonia. And both of them, again, are generators. We're talking about decision making today with generators, and also showing how things aren't in isolation in human design. You can go just with decision making and that will do you fine. But if you bring in other aspects of your chart, you can get an even more rich experience of what it is that you want to get done in life. And if you have any questions, let me know. I want to say also that, as you can see, I like using real people's charts in these videos. If you'd like me to use your chart, let me know. You can write me privately. My website is in the description. Just write me a note there. And if you have a question that you want answered, and I may use it in a video, if so, I will always change your name. I'll cloud your details so you stay anonymous. I also want to say that I love tech. And I created a GPT that has to do with decision making in human design. You basically put in your type, your authority. If you don't know them, it describes how to get them. I'm putting the link below in the description as well to the GPT. And you are very warmly invited to use it and experiment with it. If you have any feedback, please let me know. And that is it for today. So have yourself an amazing day. Keep making amazing decisions. Be in contact with me if you have any questions, anything, just write them below in the comments. I will do my very best to respond. And that's it for now. Bye-bye.